Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Ducks athletics.
The first Oregon football practice of the season concluded last night. We were there. It was great to be back on the practice field. Coming off the practice field, head coach Dan Lanning with his initial thoughts, took some comments and questions. We'll have all of that for you in just a moment. Also on today's show, Trikweze Bridges. We sat down with him on Media Day. Great conversation with Duck defensive back. And also another defensive back as we zero in on the secondary today. Steve Stevens IV learned a fun fact. Steve is not his first name. Yeah, we're going to tell you about that coming up in just a little while. Also, a number of other Media Day interviews as we continue to sprinkle those in over the course of the first week of Duck football. I did get a question before we even went on the air today. Look at this on the YouTube channel. Have you passed on the word about the Ohana jerseys? One fan in particular, LFBP Fishing, which is, I have to know, like, are you an outfit? Can I go fishing with you? Will you give away your secret spots that Jerry Allen and Joe Lorig will not share with me? Anyway, the Ohana jerseys, look, I have no say in these things, but I can pass along messages about jerseys for certain games, and I did that. So we'll see. I don't know. There are people that are far more important than me that make decisions about uniforms. Though maybe Scott can show you. It is a yellow uniform that's on the mannequin, who is happily known as Richard. This is Richard. There's a yellow jersey on there. All I will say is that jersey is the one that Michelle from the Duck store asked us to put on Richard for fall camp. Look, I just do what Michelle tells me, okay? Also releasing today, I saw the Duck store actually had them, the new Nike Pegasus. The Pegasus 40 just came out today, the Duck version of them. Little fish, big pond fishing, and yes, any day. Ah! Yes! This is great. Ah. Today's going to be a good day. I know everybody wants to hear, though, from Coach Lanning following that first practice. I'll get out of the way. Let's do that. Also, some news and notes on your Fan Fest coming up in a couple weeks. We got that for you on the horizon. But first, let's hear from Coach Lanning. Last night, coming off the practice field, his thoughts.
All right. Good and bad in day one. You know, the good, everybody's excited to be out there. Everybody wants to get to work. Right, bad, we got a lot of things that we can work on, right? But I'll say this, I think our guys are hungry to go work on those things. Not a lot of execution errors. We got to get in football shape, right? And the only way you can get in football shape is playing football, right? So we pushed at a high level today. We got to come out and push at a high level again tomorrow. We got to be elite when it comes to our recovery and the things we do away from the field. But overall positive, we're going to keep moving in the right direction.
Dante Dale able to go today?
Yeah, Dante was able to go. Jerry Mixon is the other person who was in there. Thank God they're both healthy. They were both in an incident there. Jerry had a little laceration they were able to stitch up, but both those guys are going to be good.
EPD said Dante had minor injuries, but
yeah, they're both good. All right.
Looks like you got a new toy, the Monarch Seeker out there for the receivers and DBs. Just what have you seen so far in terms of just how that helps you guys practice and get those guys more prepared?
You want to create game reps. You know, we haven't had it long enough to be able to tell you a ton, but at the end of the day, we want to create game reps. We can get as many reps as we can possibly get. That's something that allows us to get quick, effective reps that you know the ball is going to be in a certain location. You can execute at a high level.
Some of the teams have used that, whether it's Clemson or the Packers, have talked about like simulating opposing quarterbacks, possibly for defensive purposes.
Yeah, we're not to that point yet.
Both Nishad and Junior missed spring.
Nishad,
yes. They both missed spring. How is it like having him back there? How does that affect the offensive line competition?
I mean, it creates more competition for us for sure, and you want to be healthy up front. At some point, you're going to have some other guys that are going to be involved in the threshold for us being able to play, and both those guys are guys that are going to push to be playing a lot, right? So having those guys out there create great competition and make our team better.
What was it about Nishad specifically that made you feel like he was going to be a good fit for the program?
Yeah, you watch his film, right? Watch his film, it stands out, and then you just talk to him as a person, what his goals are, what he wants to achieve. He comes from a great family, but ultimately he's a driven guy that has some goals in front of him, and I thought he was a good fit from a character standpoint and certainly a talent standpoint.
Yeah, Bucky's been getting a lot of the preseason hype, but what are your thoughts on the running back group as a whole?
Yeah, I think we got a great running back room, and I think we got multiple guys in that room that can push to play and a lot of snaps. I think obviously Noah has the most experience. Jordan's had a lot of experience back there as well. For us, we want to use as many guys that can play for us at a high level.
You said there were limited execution errors, but and the center's a position that's obviously going to be a new guy there. How does that look? And I guess was that part of some of the errors?
No, it was actually pretty clean. Bryce had a couple errant snaps today, but overall, from what I was able to see, our execution there was good. We've certainly put an emphasis on it.
What was the thing you saw today that you're most happy about?
Man, the football field. I'm just excited to be out here on the grass. I think every one of our players is as well.
Have you ever seen a wide receiver wear number 99 before?
Not that I can think of.
When you add the receivers that you do via transfers and that kind of experience, Dan, are the expectations maybe even at the beginning for you in terms of those things like execution and mental errors, those sorts of things, different when you're bringing in guys who are juniors, who are seniors, who are just further along, kind of been through camps before and understand what goes into it?
I don't know exactly which direction you're saying, if you're expecting to be less prepared or more prepared. Yeah, I mean, we have the expectation for anybody that can come in and be able to play. It's certainly easier for a guy that has experience, but we have some young guys too that they have the resources in front of them to execute at a high level, and if they learn it, they're going to help us.
Several of the linebackers put on quite a bit of weight this offseason. How did you see that translate?
Yeah, ultimately, I didn't think we had enough knockback tackles last year, right? We got to be a team that can have knockback tackles, not lose yards after contact. You start by doing that by getting bigger and stronger in the weight room, and I think our guys challenge themselves to do that.
Talk about your SWOT analysis. I don't know if anyone has asked you, maybe at Media Day, but does the SWOT analysis more so go on in the off season when you're preparing, or now is it fall camp? Are you using that SWOT analysis now? Like, what is that SWOT analysis?
Yeah, it's really just going through your strengths, weaknesses, right? What are the obstacles in front of you and what are those threats, right? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? For us, that was really an off-season study, but you could argue that we do a SWOT analysis every day after practice too. So we're going to go in here and watch this last practice, figure out what we did well, figure out what we didn't do well enough, what's going to get in the way of us doing there, what are the opportunities that we can take advantage of that we didn't. So it's kind of the same process every day. It becomes part of your process.
Now that you have your full first recruiting class officially on campus, there's probably a big range between a guy like Bo that has been at many fall camps and some guys that this is their very first fall camp. How do you kind of get everyone kind of on the same page and the same board, get those new guys up to speed, but also serve the veterans in a way that they're continuing to build off what they already know?
Yeah, your veterans have to serve as some of your coaches, right? They have to help guys. They have to help bring guys along too, and that's certainly an expectation for us that these guys that have been through this, they got to be able to pull some young guys along with them. And the guys that are running around like they're chickens with their heads cut off, they got to figure out where we're going, and that's a process. But they're doing a good job of picking it up.
Tyshim and Evan, since they each played at nickel before and deep safety, and you trained them in multiple spots. You did that in the spring. Do you want to make a point in the preseason, Dan, in terms of where they're primary going to be at? Because since it's two levels of the defense, it's different to say in a corner and a safety or vice versa, or nickel and inside backer. Do you want to reach a point where you're dedicating them to one level or the other?
We'll always train guys at multiple positions because at some point we'll have to play guys at multiple positions. On game day, we're going to try to make sure we put guys in the best position for them to be successful and for our team to be successful. But to only train guy at one spot is, in my opinion, a chance to put yourself in a bad position.
When you talk about your team's goals, are they more practice to practice, day to day, week to week?
You got all of them, right? You've got goals that last for an entire season. You got a goal for a day. What am I going to improve on today, right? I think you just have to be really open and honest about what those look like. But, yeah, you have long-term goals, you have short-term goals, and you have to be able to assess and change them.
I know you haven't seen the film yet, but what can you say maybe was a goal for today that you saw really come to light in practice?
Play fast. right? We want to see play fast. I saw that at moments, and then I saw moments that it wasn't as good. So it's something we can continue to improve on.
Let's shift to afternoon practice because of class schedules, heat of the day. What were you looking for in that?
A lot of things that set up for us. I like having the ability to have meetings and walks in the morning before we have an install fresh on your mind before you go into the afternoon where you're on the field. I think having the heat up is good for us, right? Early in the season where we can train in harder environments. You play games in the afternoon and at night, right? So doing that early, I think, benefits us. And then later on, when we get into our class schedule, we'll transition back to morning.
What allowed Bryce Betcher to be someone who could slide down a level and play inside?
Well, he likes to hit. He's a good tackler, right? I think his best attributes are those attributes that you like to see in a linebacker, right? So it's going to be a transition process for him, but he has good speed. He gets to the ball, plays with a certain level of toughness. So having him down there, I think, helps us.
We've seen guys now move a couple times from safety to linebacker under you. Why does that make so much sense, or is that just specific to each individual?
Well, I think you play wherever you put your guys in position where you think they can play at a high level for you. Ultimately, you can't play linebacker the way you used to in college football, right? The Mike linebacker that goes A gap to A gap, that doesn't exist anymore. You got to be able to cover tight ends, you got to be able to cover backs, you got to be able to run sideline to sideline. So that's a big piece of it.
As much as you guys had to focus on today, Dan, the last 5-6 hours have been nationally. It's been dominated by talk of realignment. Big Ten presidents reportedly meeting tonight to discuss Oregon, Washington further expansion. Just your reaction.
Yeah, I've been worried about practice today. I do not have time to read the nightly news. Maybe I'll catch up on it around midnight tonight.
Well, you talked about that part of what's next, and to sit back and watch is some of that possibly realignment.
I'm talking about what's next.
That's Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, coming off the practice field last night. That was at, 5:30, I think, coming off the practice field, and they're back at it this afternoon. Offensive coordinator Will Stein, defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoy will meet with the media today, and we'll have those interviews for you on the show tomorrow. That'll be tonight at some point. They'll be chatting with the media. Fan Fest is coming your way. The Oregon Athletic Department will host Fan Fest on Sunday, August 13th inside the Mashofsky Center. Student-athletes from Duck football, soccer, volleyball, men's and women's basketball will be in attendance. Tons of various activities and games, a dunk tank photo station, lawn games, a football passing station, field goal kicking, a whole lot more. Parking will be free in the Mashofsky Center and Autzen East lot. Event runs 11 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. Admission is free. Sunday, August 13th, Fan Fest. More details, goducks.com. Before we head to break, Tobiah asking, why didn't Lanning mention Bucky? Something happened with him. Bucky was in the question, I believe. It was, hey, a lot of hype for Bucky. What about the rest of your running back room? So, no, nothing to read into it there, Tobiah. When we come back, Trikweze Bridges, we had a great conversation with the Oregon defensive back from Media Day. He could do my job. Probably better than me. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Nuggets Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. We heard from Dan Lanning, brought to you by the William Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. And earlier in the Country Financial Studio this week, we talked with Trikweze Bridges, one of a number of Duck football student athletes that we had here for interviews. And we've had them throughout the course of the week. If you missed any, you can always subscribe to the Oregon Sports Network podcast on your podcast player of choice, or go back and watch the show on Facebook or YouTube via the Go Duck social media channels. A lot of fun interviews. It's always the best part when we have a student athlete that just is a lot of fun to talk to. And honestly, the vast majority of them are exactly that. Trikweze Bridges is no exception. We had a fun conversation catching up with the Oregon defensive back, getting you ready for football season with Trikweze Bridges. So now we have a veteran of the studio. So I'm not going to ask you for your 2-minute life story unless you want to do it again.
Nah.
You're happy with where you were at? I mean, I remember yours.
I had one of the good ones, so I can't.
Yours was solid. I think you were like within 10 seconds, if I remember right. So Trikweze Bridges, everybody, welcome to the studio. Welcome back. So what have you been up to? We were just talking before we hit record that you've been playing a lot of golf lately. Is that's your new interest, your new hobby?
I like it. I like it a lot. This is just frustrating.
Golf's hard, man. I was a baseball player.
Sometimes.
Terrible golfer.
Yeah.
Like I still swing like it's a baseball bat, and I cannot play golf. I'm so bad at it.
You want to know something? So like also when we was talking about golfing, it's supposed to be an injury injury-free zone. I hit the ball, didn't go where I wanted to go, and I'm like, and it just swung and hit me in my leg. I'm like, dang. Yeah. So it just went all crazy from there, but yeah.
We're gonna cut this out. We won't tell the coaches that.
I'm all good. I'm all 100%, all good. Yeah,
you went to you got your treatment.
Yeah. Hey, prehab, rehab, all before and after.
Yeah, that's smart. See, it's a veteran right here. Do you feel like a veteran now? Like, is it sinking in that like you're one of the older guys on the team now?
Yeah, for sure.
God, you're exhaling like it's a bad thing. I'm saying it like it's a good thing.
It has the pros and cons. When I was a freshman, I'm like, older guy, he's old. I'm not old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been here for a minute, but hey, times fly fast.
Yeah. Are you starting to kind of feel that like it does fly by?
Yeah, for sure.
What advice do you give to like 17, 18-year-old you? And I think I've probably asked you that before, but sometimes it changes. Yeah. I've noticed over the years.
What I would tell myself, just do you. Put more time in. Also, just focus on the people around you. Just keep networking and stuff like that. I feel like if I had that mindset as a 17, 18-year-old, I'll know a lot of more people. Also, just be way developed. I'd be early developed before getting to college. Just being one of the guys that probably can play right then and there. But I know once I came to college, I had a red shirt and I had to continue to develop as a player. So I would say just do that. Have a head start on those type of things when I was 17, 18.
Yeah. All right. So I gotta ask you. I mean, Troy was just in here. We were just talking. You guys both wearing number 11.
Yes, sir.
That didn't. It's funny when you guys said that. Like I was joking about that's harder on broadcasters, but I didn't even think about that. Like 11 versus 11 in practice does happen an awful lot. Like I see it a lot.
And I was like, hey, because I've been wearing number 11 since high school. I think him as well, and I was like, he's a great player, and we both go against each other. I said, hey, 11 there. He was like, ooh, that's 5. I'm like, yeah, I know. I come up with a little something here and there, but so I always we always going against each other, competing. Sometimes it get rough. Sometimes it's one of us had the better day. But at the end of the day, we always working with each other. We always come together and just like he said before, it's just we always ask each other what do you do? What is hard? What is something that I do is hard for you, and how can I be better at it? Or just just back and forth with each other, just like trying to learn off each other as well.
I remember when you and I were talking previously at one point last year too. Like we talked about how your length is a real weapon. Like how often do you hear from receivers, maybe on this Oregon roster, that are like, no, I don't want to deal with your length. Like,
a lot of guys
makes it tough.
A lot of guys they like some of the guys I haven't went with a lot, go against a lot, but when they sometimes when they first step up against me, I get a speed release. So they're just like quick, get away from me quick. So that's something that I always expect from a guy when I'm going against them for the first time, or like when I don't get to go against them a lot. But they hate the length because it's different things that I can do with my footwork that throw them off a little bit, and they also forget like they got to go. So the time and just like getting off the line and stuff is kind of difficult when I can shoot my hands.
Yeah. What do you want to work on? What are some of your things to get better at this month?
Just changing directions. It's just like getting there from A to B faster, and have a +2 behind that.
I'm curious, talking a little bit about like the entire defensive backfield. I mean, there are so many people like you, I feel like, on this roster that can move around, that are versatile. I mean, how big of a deal is that in today's football game?
That is real big. It's just like in the NFL, they don't have the many guys that go and play on the road or whatnot. So you gotta be able to be that guy that can play more than one position. So like for me, I can play corner and I can play safety, play some star as well. Whatever, just like knowing the defense, knowing what each guy do on the field is really helpful for yourself. Because like if somebody go down, you want to be able to be the person to step up and play that role.
How many, or I guess I should put it this way, how big of a deal is it that you're in year 2 now of the defense? Like it's a little different than last year, I'd imagine.
It's more comfortable because like I'm not learning a new defense. Might have different names for it or something or whatnot, but like it's still the same defense, and now I can just add my things that I have learned from last year to this season, this playing time, this the reps or repetition that we're getting now, just adding my stuff to it. So now I have the defense, I have my things, and then put them together so it's be more cleaner.
What are you guys as a position group? And I'm even talking cornerbacks and safeties here, Quez. Like, I feel like there's so much depth in your guys' rooms. Like, take fans inside of it if you could. Like, what are you guys feeling like heading into the year?
We see a lot of things. We see a lot of things that people are talking about. We just, we're not out here like okay. So we gonna stay humble, stay quiet. Swim with the fish under the water, and so they don't nobody know what we're doing, know our moves and whatnot. But we're ready for this season. We're ready to roll. A lot of guys are ready to step up. Younger guys are ready to play. Everybody got their mind in the right direction. So we're gonna come out fast, strong, and be the team that people hate playing.
That's defense, right? Like you always want to be the team that I love that, Quez. But I'm kind of curious too, like, especially now that you've been through this and you are a veteran. Like one of the themes I feel like from Coach Lanning, and I've been talking with other players about this too. You guys do so much off the field to kind of be close and to have that brotherhood. Like, what's that been like for you as a student athlete now, and you're heading into another year?
It's fun. They call me Parlay now, so I gotta, that's my name. I go by Parlay. But just being the older guy, they always look to you. What you want to do, what we doing. Just like some of the guys being new to Eugene and stuff like that. So it's like showing them around and just having fun. Sometimes we hang out, grill. We went to the sand dunes out there in Florence around ATVs and stuff like that. That's just things that we picked up over the times of just being around each other. And I would say since I've been here, this summer has been more productive. Like just me doing things with the guys, doing things of what I want to do because I graduated, so I didn't have to like take classes in the summer because
congratulations.
Thank you. Because like my thing is, I always wanted to take classes in the summer so I can always stay ahead and be ahead with school. So just with me graduating, I didn't have to do that this summer. So I'm like, wow, and that's why I picked up golfing. Like I always said I wanted to do it, but I never just made the time for it. So I just went out there on the golf course and I started hitting balls and it looked nice. So had a reason to come back, So just doing golfing, doing ATVs, just spending time with my teammates and playing video games with them and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the guys on the team love Warzone. We can have a debate all day who's the better.
Who's the best?
Yeah, so, hey.
All right, serious question. The ones that play Warzone, were they the best paintballers?
No.
Really? See, I would think there'd be
it's different.
connection
It's different in real life. It's
For
different.
sure,
It's different
but
in real life.
And
in Warzone, you can come back and stuff, and it don't hurt you.
That's
in
true.
real life, you want to,
I would at least think there'd be some connection, but strategy, tactics, communication. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. Like last year we went. It was like objectives, like where like you have to go get the flag or you have to turn the flag, and it was like in the middle.
Yeah.
So on offense, it was offense and versus defense. So it was like in this one section where it's like somebody got to run up and turn the flag, and Bryce Betcher wasn't ever scared to do it. Like some reason, like a lot of guys will go and we'll cover up. We like have like 3 long sleeves on and a hoodie. Bryce out there just with a tank top on. Like
that sounds like Bryce Betcher.
He'll take the baseball and just let it hit him or whatnot.
Right.
So yeah, I'm like, hey man, you got it.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know.
So like everybody had their own ways of just like going through things. You should have seen Coach Lanning. Coach Lanning he was serious out there. I didn't. One game I was just spectating. I was just like, hey, he's for real. Like some coaches and some guys they'll just go and just like for the look and play. But no, he was actually serious out there. He was having a good time, and it's just like having your head coach and have any of your coaches out there playing with you and just like being involved and just not like, here's the event that you guys doing. Go ahead, fun and stuff like that. It's not fun. Like when you bring a coach, when your coach is stepping up and he's doing it as well, then you'll really enjoy more of it.
Yeah, that's cool to hear. I mean, there's so much of what we all as fans, right, that we see on the field. Like I think it's cool to hear you talk about all the stuff that happens that no one else sees that leads to what you're talking about. Like if you guys are playing well, it's probably because you enjoy playing with each other in some ways, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal, I guess.
Yes, sir. It is for sure. I mean, like just having like people being more involved, just like with football. Like you want to be trained, you want to be close to somebody that can just like get out there and move around with you and stuff like that. Just instead of them just standing around, just like do this, do that. Like, coach, can you show me how I look? Mm-hmm. Coach me, he'll get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Anybody, all the coaches will do it, but just my position coach, like I haven't seen him do it. Like also, like he can't move around all the time. No diss, coach, but like we have Rashad Wadu out there coaching us and also doing the things too. So I mean, we got the guys around us to help us.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. One of my favorite phrases, people like Knight are going to get tired of me saying this. It takes a village.
Yep.
It does. It does.
It
takes
does.
a village. What didn't we cover? I mean, you're a veteran now. What else do you want fans to know? What didn't I ask you today?
I started my brand back around the spring, April. It's called Talent Brand Official on Instagram. Just go look at that. I use that brand in my platforms to just like be more of a motivator to younger people or whoever it may be. I just want everybody to be able to reach their full potential, because like if you go back to our first video, me giving my 2 minutes, and it's like hearing my story and stuff like that.
Hawk.
Just hearing my story and just like knowing how I came up and how I got here. I would say like it was a journey. It was tough. It wasn't easy, and I just want everybody to be able to feel comfortable and just know that they can reach their goals and whatever it is they have set for themselves. So like I want to be an example, and I want to take that role of just like helping people out. So
that's cool.
Like I said, Talent Brand Official on Instagram. Go check that out, and that's me and my brand.
That's nice. Quez, baby.
Yes,
Trikweze
sir.
Bridges. Thanks you, man.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. He was fun to talk with. Again, always fun to catch up with. I really liked everything that Trikweze Bridges said. Fun to catch up with him. When we come back, zeroing in on the defensive backs continues. Steve Stevens, another guy who's graduated. It was cool to talk with him about that. We've got Steve Stevens with us next. Duck Insider rolls on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. Continuing some of our interviews this week with Oregon football, Steve Stevens. We learned, fun fact, Steve is not his actual first name. This was a good conversation with a guy who has graduated and figures to be a big part of Oregon secondary this year, Steve Stevens the fourth. All right, I'm going to start with something that's going to lead me to our tradition. Because this is your first time in the studio. Welcome. Welcome to the studio. Yeah. Welcome. Steve Stevens the fourth. Mm-hmm. How often do you actually get introduced as the fourth?
You know what? I make a conscious effort to, hey, I'm Steve Stevens the fourth. So then when people, address me, they announce it, it's like Steve Stevens the fourth. Yeah. But fun fact, my actual first name is Alfred, so it's Alfred Steve Stevens IV.
Oh, I did not know that.
See, so fun fact. But I go by Steve Stevens because my dad, my grandpa, they all go by Steve. They like Steve more than Alfred. But me, it's just, I feel like at this point, Steve Stevens just works better. People remember it better. So
it is memorable. I will tell you, broadcaster-wise, It's easy. It just flows off.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's cool, though. I didn't realize that. So I was going to ask you a little bit about the fourth aspect. But what this brings me to, before I ask the follow-ups, okay, so we have a tradition. The first time that you come in the studio, I make everybody tell their 2-minute life story.
Okay.
Okay, it's your 2 minutes.
Okay.
We keep track of the leaderboard, and like Cam was saying, he got 1:47. That's one of the closest we've ever had to 2 minutes, actually.
Okay.
So I'm going to time you.
Okay.
It's your life story.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Alfred Steve Stevens IV, life story in 3, 2, 1.
All right, my name is Alfred Steve Stevens IV, born and raised in Fresno, California, by my mom, Rochelle Webb, my dad, Steve Stevens III. I grew up in the house with my mom and my stepdad, Lawrence Wyndham, and then I have 7 siblings. I have 3 sisters, 4 brothers, but fun fact, we all have different moms, and then my sister, we have the same mom, different dad, but my sister, she's like 10, 12 years older than me, so I grew up in the house by myself. Growing up, I played all the sports. I played baseball, played basketball, track, cross country. I even tried out for the tennis team. So, big sports guy. I went to Computech Middle School before going to Edison High School, where I played football and basketball and track. And then I just played just football from sophomore year the rest of the year. And then, that's pretty much it.
That was only 48 seconds. You were quick.
Yeah, I'm simple.
You got another 1:12 if you want it.
We could keep going. I mean, I'm simple.
To the point.
Yeah, I'm born and raised. I played this couple sports here and there. I've been blessed to not have too much bumps in my road. So.
Well, that's good. I don't like speed bumps.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a fan.
We like smooth roads.
Yeah, smooth roads. I'm all in. Competitive household growing up then, it sounds like. How often did you kind of look around at your big family?
So you know what? Playing Pop Warner, me and my brothers, we always would compete. We always, even basketball, my older brother, he was more so a basketball fanatic, and we would always just compete on nonstop. Who had the most touchdowns, who had the most tackles, interceptions, things like that. So we definitely was a lot of competition in the house. Even my dad, 'cause my dad was good at football too. So it's just like, oh, you didn't score as many touchdowns as I did when I used to play in this, that, and the third. So
If you weren't playing football, what would you play?
basketball.
Yeah.
I actually liked basketball. I ended up playing varsity as a freshman. Yeah, as a freshman in high school. I played JV at first, and then I got moved to varsity, and I was playing for a little bit. But yeah, I would say probably basketball.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Someone like you, like, it's becoming more and more common that you specialize in a sport so much younger. But then, I always love talking to people like you that have played so many different sports. Because I don't know. I liked playing a lot of sports when I was a kid. I don't know.
No, for sure. So if I were to go back and do it again, I'd play all the sports all the way through.
Really?
But my coach, Tony Perry, at the time, he felt like I need to just focus in on football. And he was like, he asked me, hey, are you going to be 6'5"? And I had to swallow that pill early. I was like, I'm not going to be 6'5". So
hey, still got time.
Exactly.
Still got time.
I guess. I'll be 23 next month. So they say you can grow till you're 23. So we'll see. But yeah, so I swallowed my pride, and I just stuck to football from there on out, doing 7-on-7, and then just kept going.
But man, like I've started hearing some people are specializing when they're in like 6th grade.
Yeah, see, I played football from I was 2 years old. I was in the 1st grade. That's when I first started playing tackle football.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you fall in love with the game? Like, when was it like, man, this is it for me?
So you know what? I'll probably say year 2. Because
Really?
year 1, everything was hard. My dad was really hard on me. He was really just like that dad. Was like, oh, you got to do this. You got to do it right. Oh, if you don't do things right, guess we're going home, and we're going to run it over and over again until you get it right. So that year 1 was really tough for me. But then year 2, I was like, oh, this is actually fun. I like to hit people. I like to, score touchdowns. This is good. This is fun.
Yeah.
So
you're a veteran.
Yes, sir.
You've been through a few fall camps.
Yes, sir.
What would you tell your 17, 18-year-old self now if you could give yourself advice?
Man, come to the facility early, get some stretching, warming up, and be big on hydration because you're going to burn a lot of sweat and calories out there.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
What's a successful fall camp? I mean, you've gone through this a few times.
Successful fall camp would be going from an execution standpoint, almost 100%. Lots of plays being made, a lot of ball disruption, and then you come through healthy.
Healthy's important. That's been the theme. So you're like the 5th different player to say that.
That's big time. That's big time. Staying healthy because it's a tough, intensive game that we play.
Yeah.
And you're just hitting people nonstop. Especially on defense.
Yeah. Defense year 2. How big of a deal is it that it's year 2 in this system now?
I think it's a big deal because now we're able to really execute at an elite level. Like last year with it just being installed, we were able to execute at a decent level, good level. But now it's like it's year 2 and it's like things second nature now. So now you just react. Oh, you got the call? Okay, now let's see the formation. Let's see what the offense wants to do, how they're going to beat the defense. So now it's like, yeah, but that really execute at a high standard.
Steve Stevens with us. Take us inside the position group.
Okay.
Like, what's the room like? Tell us about it.
We got some characters in the room. We definitely got some characters.
We're talking to one.
Exactly. So So, I'll start with the older guys. Brian Addison, that's my guy. 6'5" safety in the room, so, I got to look up to him in that sense.
Yeah.
But, Evan Williams just came in the room, but high energy guy, high character guy. He knows probably every song out. Literally, I think you memorize everything.
So he's the one you go to, like, trivia karaoke style?
Yeah, no, he has it. He has it.
All right.
Has it unlocked.
Good to know.
Taisheem, that's my guy. Interesting. Finally getting to know him, seeing him open up. He's actually really funny. And then let's keep going to my young guys. Tyler Turner. So when he was like a recruit, he had dreads and everything. I was like, this dude looks like about 30.
Really?
But then as soon as he cut the dreads off, he actually looks young. I was like, bro, you look young now. He's like, bro, really? Like, So yeah, no, he's cool guy. Cody DeCambry. Then even some of our other guys like Will Stratton, Zach Gresham. I love Zach too, man. Zach calls me all the time. Hey, bro. So it's cover 1. Are you sure we guard our man? No, I'm just kidding. But he doesn't matter how simple, how easy the question is. Like, he's always quick to try to ask me questions and things like that. But that's what I love about him. And I feel like I wish I was more like that as a young guy, just asking different questions, especially just really asking the older guys.
Yeah.
Because, they've been through it, they understand it. So I love that dude right there. So
it's cool I got to say, like, as a fan, like, it's cool to hear a veteran like you go through person by person, Like,
sure.
that's a leader to me. Right, like, and I feel like you've really embraced a leadership role. Did that come natural for you? Like, has that been hard for you to kind of be a leader in that way?
So when you like high school for me, I was a leader on the team. Highly recruited, things of that nature, and coming to a team where the leaders are already established. So now you kind of find your role and things like that. Then as time went on, I've learned, I've saw a lot, I've seen what works, what doesn't work, and I've seen the leaders in my room come and go, and then just now it was my time to step into the room, be that leader. It's like there's certain things you have to do, like you have to know everyone in your position room, and I think that's only right. And also I have handshakes with majority of the DBs in my room, so I just feel like that's just big time, and it's just like it's respecting, like, hey bro, when you see me, hey, we got a handshake. We might be bumping elbows or something, but we got a handshake. So. Big time.
So now when we see that on the field, the celebration after a pass breakup, now we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. I'll remember that. Steve Stevens IV with us. So I asked you before we got going, Steve, that you've kind of done these before. If there's anything that you wanted me to ask you. Now that we've gotten going, you're almost 9 minutes in. What else should fans know? Like what do you wish that I talked to you about today, or I talked to you about more often?
I would say my transition, being a California native and coming to Oregon.
Different.
It's different. So being from Fresno, California, it's like a desert. It's summertime is 105 plus.
But the tri-tip's great, Steve.
Great tri-tip. Doghouse Grill. Shout out to Doghouse. Make sure you get that tri-tip. Yeah, man. So it just, that transition, I feel like coming here, everyone is really nice. Good morning. Good afternoon. How are you? Hello. Go back home, people kind of mean mug you in a sense. So then when I go back home now, and I'll say, hey, good morning, how are you doing? And they kind of like get kind of surprised. I'm like, yeah, no, this is how you're supposed to address people. This is normal, okay? But that, and then just how it's so green and just outdoors things to do, like fishing. Like I like to go fishing, love fishing. Me and Brian Addison go fishing. So like I never would have just went fishing back home because it's just such city vibes, and just coming out here going fishing, going floating, just getting in the water, going on a boat and things like that. So it's just, I think just that transition for me was just like crazy, and I think that's something that people don't really ask me about, but that transition was big time.
Do you talk to other student athletes about that, like people that have made a similar transition, whether it be from California or another state? Like, does that come up for you a lot?
More so when I do like a panel and I kind of talk about how I had to open up more so than when I first got here to now, and just kind of just talking about how everyone's so nice, because that's like, it seems to be a common theme. Like people outside of Oregon, when they come here, like, yeah, wow, people are actually really nice here. And it's really a common theme, but people don't really talk about it too much until you hear it and like, oh wow, I can agree to that. So,
interesting. See, this is why we asked that. See, I never thought about that. So next time when you're on the coaches show this year, now we'll talk to you about what that was like for young Steve. All right, good. Anything else? What we missed?
I don't know, man. Shoot, did pretty much we did it. I don't know. You want to talk about tattoos or something like that?
Yeah,
got lots of them, but I don't know.
You do. The entire left arm now.
Yeah, man. Got some good ink work done by my guy TC. But I just feel like from that standpoint, 5'9" from where I'm from, Fresno, California. I got my DB guru here, so shout out to my coach Tony Perry. I wouldn't be here without him. He probably had every college coach's phone number in his phone, and every game day he'll call him and be like, "Hey, talk to my team." So I'm talking about like Jim Harbaugh's to all types of different people. Wow. Okay, then on here I have Kearney Boulevard, so it's a street where I kind of just grew up driving on my whole life, whether I was going to school, going to my grandma's house, my aunt's house, uncle's house. We just kind of all lived pretty much off that street growing up. And then Nipsey Hussle, he has a dedication, hard work, plus patience, and I really feel like those are things in my game as a football player that I really have to dive into, because being here, you sometimes, like, we hate bumps, but you get bumps in your road, and you got to have a little patience. Like, okay, we're going to come around, we're going to understand it at some point, and that was just something that was big time, and I really loved that. And then I just got a hand tat recently, so it's 777, so it's angel numbers, and for me it was you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're going where you're supposed to be going, and I really believe in that, and I believe everything happens for a reason. I have that tatted on the back arm right here, and I feel like everything happens for a reason, so it's like I'm a really positive person, and I just try not to see the negative in things. So if something happens to me, I was like, okay, well, it was God's plan, and we're just gonna move forward. How can we, get through it? So
I could talk to you for an hour, Steve.
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I could talk to you for an hour. Thanks for coming in, man.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Best of luck this season.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a veteran. Thanks for being a Duck.
Yeah.
We'll get you back in here.
No, for sure. Just one quick shout out. So I just got my master's in advertising and brand responsibility.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. And I've been working on this book, and it's called The Game Plan. So it's pretty much teaching the invisible student athlete how to capitalize on themselves as a brand while they're at the University of Oregon. So it's
a
been
big deal.
Exactly. So it's been in the works. It's my capstone project, but I really feel like I want to distribute it, to get it to the athletes here. I feel like we kind of miss out on a lot of things that we should be focusing on. So just like shout out, be looking out for that book here shortly.
It's a new major, by the way, the brand responsibility masters. I've actually spoken in a lot of those classes. It's run by some great people. So congratulations.
I appreciate that.
That's great.
Yes, sir.
Steve, thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Alfred Steve Stevens IV. I told him after we were done recording, what a great idea. I mean, what a tremendous idea for someone like him and other athletes to put together sort of the book, literally, on being a student athlete. I thought it was a cool idea. I hope that comes to fruition. Congratulations again to Steve for getting that master's degree. When we come back, we've got our Slocum Center Minute. We continue with, over 50 years, the official team doctors of the Ducks now, the Slocum Center. Also, more from Duck Football Media Day, some watch lists, some softball news today, too. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center physicians are located here in Eugene and are the orthopedic team physicians for your beloved Oregon Ducks. Dr. Lisa Pomranke, a non-surgical sports medicine physician at Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, is with us today talking about sports injuries. Doctor, how common is it for athletes to overtrain?
Recent data actually indicates overtraining is estimated to occur in 65% of national and international elite runners at least once in their career, but we see this often in recreational athletes as well. It occurs when athletes train too much and they do not have enough recovery time in between bouts of exercise. They tend to feel tired and start to notice that their physical performance worsens. The typical rest period for recovery from overtraining syndrome can be 3 to 6 weeks.
Dr. Pomranke, what tips do you have that you'd like to share with athletes on how to avoid overtraining?
The most important thing I tell my patients is that the period of recovery between exercise episodes is where your body actually makes the necessary changes to adapt to the prior exercise load. The adaptations do not occur during the exercise. Therefore, rest is just as important as the training session. Secondly, a little tip for monitoring for overtraining is to check your resting heart rate in the morning. If you find it's trending upward, that might be a sign that you're overtraining.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Pomranke. Tune in next week to hear Dr. Wiest discuss fracture care. That was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by Slocum Center Orthopedic Team Physicians for University of Oregon Athletics since 1967.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. OnPoint people are the point, serving more than 522,000 members. Longtime title sponsor of the show. Thanks to OnPoint Community Credit Union for their support. In the Country Financial Studio earlier this week, we had a number of Oregon football student athletes, and then also upstairs as part of Media Day leading into the season, we heard from even more Oregon football student athletes, zeroing in on the offensive line here with a veteran of a relatively young group, Stephen Jones, talking with the media.
What does it mean just to have your coach out there putting himself out there to take shots from you guys, literally, but as a group too, to build cohesiveness that way? How do you feel like that has progressed this summer?
I think like seeing Coach Lanning out there playing paintball with us kind of shows him that he's trying to reiterate connection on his side of the spectrum too. I know that helps a lot of young players too, seeing your coach involved in activities like that rather than just standing on the side, because it shows that like if you really want to connect and grow with each other, then you got to be in it together, and he's showing that. So
you're one of the unique players that's experienced an offensive line change in its entirety a couple years ago. Besides yourself, the unit's going to do it again. What can you just bring from that experience in, I think, 2020 when you guys had to replace that group of Shane and Hanson and stuff to make sure that this year's line change goes so smoothly?
I mean, you kind of just got to remind each other that there's not going to be no fall off. Just because some dudes were here for a couple of years and they executed perfectly, that doesn't mean that the new guys coming in are going to be the ones to mess it up. So I think just reiterating everyone our principles that we have as an offensive line, but as well as that connection, because the one main thing that those groups like Shane Lemieux, Panay, all them, and even Alex Forsythe, Ryan Walk, and the group that was here last year, the biggest thing they had was connections on and off the field. So I think when you are able to play connected as an offensive line, that's going to help you later on into the season, and it's going to help you win games better. So just know that we're not the weakest link. Have that mentality going into it, and everything will be all right.
What are your thoughts? That connection's there or not yet?
No, I don't think so. I think it starts from day one. I mean, and connection's always growing. It's not like a set standard or a set level that it can be at. I think connection will always grow. That's why the more years that Alex Forsythe, Ryan Walk, and all of us played together from 2019, 2020, all the way up until last season, you could see the improvement steadily over time. But it's not just because of individual improvement. It was group improvement with working together. So,
what are Bo's strengths? What are some of his unique traits as a quarterback?
His great understanding of the defense. We'll be at practices and he'll be out there reading every single defensive position, knowing exactly what they're doing, as well as guiding us as an offensive line. I think it's important when a quarterback knows what the O-line is doing too, because then it'll help you execute later on down the road. But I mean, even off the field, he's a great character. A lot of us look to him as a leader because he's the one who's leading us through it, I guess. But yeah, no, he's a great dude. I love him.
When you look at Will and the new system, how does it compare to last year? How would you describe the style of offense y'all are going to play this year under him?
I think it's going to be a little bit similar from last year. It's still main emphasis, I think, is running the ball. You always got to be able to run the ball to win games, and as an offensive lineman, we love that. But also, he's not afraid to take deep shots down the field, as well as cut up some random schemes, like bring in some cool gap schemes or anything like that. Like, I think it is a little bit different from Dillingham's, but I think that same mentality of attacking the defense is still there. So.
And just looking at him as a dude, like what kind of personality does he bring to that position?
He's a great dude. He's one of those dudes who come in and you know what type of time he's on. He's here to work. Every time you step into that building, he's ready to work, but he's also not afraid to make connections as well. You'll see him out there in the middle of practice smiling, having a good time, and I think that rubs off of every other player, because even if the OC is out there having fun, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be having fun. So I think he's a great guy for our offense, and it's going to be exciting this year.
I love hearing student athletes talk about sports can still be fun, right? That's fun to hear. That's Stephen Jones on the offensive line. A lot of new faces, but he's one that's been here a while, some continuity. And I saw one fan asking about if I could ask Trikweze a fan question. We actually already recorded a lot of these interviews, so I missed the opportunity for you on that one. When we come back, yellow jerseys, a question about that. Also, it's watch list season. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. So we were showing Richard earlier. He's got the yellow jersey on. I believe the Duck store has the yellow jerseys. Comment was that the yellow one's been the most elusive. I'm told that the yellow one's in the Duck store at Autzen. I'm just going to be honest, that's where we got it. We went downstairs and said, Michelle, what do you want us to put on Richard? And it was there. I don't know. Scott actually got it. I can't take credit. Were there a lot of them? They're down there? Yeah, the yellow ones are at the Autzen Duck store. Can confirm. Unless Scott bought them all. That I don't know. He's shaking his head. He has not done it. So, Autzen Duck store. That's where they're at. Preseason recognition continuing for the Oregon football team on Thursday, today, as defensive back Trikweze Bridges on the show was named to the watch list for the Werfel Trophy, and wide receiver Chris Hudson landed on the watch list for the Paul Hornung Award. How about that? Pretty cool. You're going to see a lot of those coming in. Oregon softball also adding a catcher and utility player and an Oregon native, Trinity Holden, a transfer from Portland State, eligible this season. Originally from Lebanon, was the 5A State Player of the Year in 2022. More details, GoDucks.com. I'm headed to practice. See ya.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family.